People are super nosy in life and especially on Instagram. I bet you enjoy going behind the scenes of people's day or going with them on a day in the life, and your audience is no different. Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so pleased to have you here with me. In today's video, we are talking all about how to create Instagram stories with confidence. In one of my recent videos that I link to up here, I was talking about how to create unmissable Instagram stories. But I know one of the biggest hurdles to even creating Instagram stories and opening up that little record button is having the confidence to do so. So in this video, we're talking all about how you can get the confidence to show up on Instagram stories regularly. Before we dive into the video, don't forget that you can chat to me more one-on-one over on my Instagram channel at Bella Foxwell. Over there, I am sharing Instagram tips every single day, and I'm chatting to people just like you in the DMs. So send me a DM, let's chat more about your strategy and any advice or help I can give you. Now, let's dive into the video. So tip number one to make Instagram stories much less intimidating is to make them about your audience. Remember, at least half of the types of Instagram stories you should be uploading every week should be about your audience and how you can provide them the most value. If you want to know more about the two types of Instagram story I advise that you post, check out this video that I'm linking to above. But yes, back to the point, you want to be sharing value to your audience. So spin the mindset from thinking that this is all about you, this is about a spotlight on you and how you look and how well you say the things you say, and instead really think about how you showing up on Instagram stories is going to help your target audience. It is you doing them a service, and therefore if you don't show up on Instagram stories, you're doing them a disservice. So when it comes to the types of content to post, think about the questions that your audience has for you. Think about the common problems or needs that they have that you can solve with Instagram stories. Tip number two is have a plan. Now, my dad is a huge fan of the saying, fail to plan, plan to fail, and he couldn't be more right, particularly in this instance with regard to Instagram stories. Having a plan for your Instagram stories was one of the tips I included in the 10 tips to create unmissable, unskippable Instagram stories, linking to above here. So be sure to check that video out after this one so you know the other tips that I share to make your Instagram stories the best that they can possibly be. Content great and engaging. And so the best way to do that is literally just to sit down and sketch out a few ideas of Instagram stories. Sketch out your beginning, your middle and end, and then all that you need to do in the week, ad hoc as it comes, is then just create those Instagram stories. If you know you're going to a cafe on Wednesday and that could be a great opportunity for a behind the scenes or a day in the life, then you know the kinds of beginning and middle and end you might have of your story. You know the videos or the images that you need to capture that day, and then you can upload it as you go through the day, or you can upload it at the end of the day, whatever it is. But to be able to post 4 or 5 times a week, to be able to be ranked highly by the Instagram algorithm, planning really is key. So tip number 3 to showing up confidently on Instagram stories is to make use of the content you already have. Your Instagram story strategy shouldn't be completely separate from your current Instagram strategy. So think of the content that you're already sharing on your Instagram main feed and think about how you can repurpose that into an engaging, interesting Instagram story. For example, you might have shared a book review recently in a main feed Instagram post, or you might have shared an introductory post about you and what you do as a business owner, how you run your business, what you offer, or you might have shared a picture of your furry sidekick and done an introduction to your colleague, your furry friend colleague. All of those suggestions or examples that I have just made, you can turn those into Instagram stories. It doesn't have to be reinventing the wheel every single time. Take a look over the recent content you've created on your main feed and then think about how that could translate into an Instagram story. So with the book review example, you could easily turn that into an Instagram story where you share your thoughts on the book, your favorite quotes, and then you open it up to your audience to ask them whether they've read the same book or whether they've read any other books by that author, or what's been their favorite book related to that book genre this year. So think about the ways that you can make the most of the content you already have. Tip number 4 is film your day. People are super nosy in life and especially on Instagram. I bet you enjoy going behind the scenes of people's day or going with them on a day in the life, and your audience is no different. So take your audience with you through your day, and you don't need to film your face as you do this, but you could film shots of you making your breakfast, of you on your journey to your local coffee shop, or to going to meet a supplier, or going to the post office, whatever it is. If you have potentially a scenic route that you take your audience with you. It's great for them and engaging for them to be part of your surroundings and give them context for where you're based and where you work from. It's really nice for people, and don't ever underestimate that your day or your life is boring. People love this. It's why people's days in the life and behind the scenes is why that type of content is so popular. It's why reality TV is popular, because we like getting a nose into other people's lives. So think about taking people through your day with you. And as I said, you don't have to show your face in these kinds of stories. You can film it from your perspective and really bring people into your world as you are experiencing it. Tip number 5 is to add a filter. There are so many Instagram filters out there on stories that you can use to help get you comfortable with showing your face on Instagram stories. Now, I don't recommend that you go overboard with them or you use them too much or every single time you upload to Instagram stories, just because sometimes they can be a little bit off-putting for some people. However, there are so many Instagram story filters out there that you can experiment with, some more subtle than others, some funny, and you can use them to really show off your personality. So definitely have a go with those if they're going to help build your confidence to show your face in all its glory later down the line. Tip number 6 is to prop up your phone so you're not holding it. Now, this might sound a little bit of a weird tip, but one of the biggest hurdles I believe that people have when showing up on Instagram stories is the fact that they have to hold up the phone and talk into it. And that's a really simple thing that sounds a bit silly, but try propping up your phone on a stack of books or on a windowsill and talking into your Instagram stories that way, and see the difference it makes to your confidence. By being able to prop up the phone against the wall or on a stack of books and removing the fact that you have to hold it with your hand will allow you to be much more expressive with your hands, and that will translate into you being super confident and much more like yourself on camera, rather than awkwardly having to hold the phone here and not quite knowing where to move your face or where to hold the camera or what distance. You can just set it up to be the right angle and the right distance on the books or on the windowsill, and then you can gesture and move your hands and express yourself as you would if you were talking to a friend in a cafe. And finally, tip number 7 is mix up your content types. The great thing about Instagram stories is that you don't need to only show your face on every single Instagram story. In fact, it's better if you don't. It's better if you mix up the types of content you're sharing on Instagram stories to keep your audience really engaged. So that means you don't have to show your face every single time. You can share stories that are text on a colored background, you can share boomerangs, you can share still images, you can share videos of your surroundings, and you can share videos of you talking to the camera. Variety is the spice of life, and the same goes for your Instagram stories. So that's the really great thing to know, is that you don't have to show your face in every single story, and you don't have to show your face in every single segment. That means that you can show up in 1 or 2 segments chatting, and if that is enough for you and that's as far as you can go in terms of comfort levels with Instagram stories, then you can stop there and then you can continue your story with text on a colored background or a video of your surroundings, whatever is relevant for that story. So there you go. Great tip. You don't have to show your face in every single story. And a bonus tip for you is to practice. Practice makes perfect. It's the oldest trick in the book, and it really is the one that works the best. I, myself, a few years ago, was terrified of showing up on Instagram stories. I hated the idea of showing my face to the camera and talking because I felt stupid, because I felt like I didn't know what to say, because I felt like people were going to wonder why I was showing up on Instagram stories, chatting away, when people had better things to do with their lives and better things to watch. All of those fears I had them as well, and the only way to really overcome them is to silence that inner critic by just showing up on Instagram stories anyway and getting used to it. The more you show up, the more comfortable you will feel, and the more your audience will get used to seeing you, and therefore they will engage with you more, and that will only grow your confidence further. So it's an annoying tip perhaps, but honestly, my best tip for you is just to go for it and to keep practicing. You won't necessarily be very good in the beginning. You might stumble on your words in the first few stories you share. That is to be expected, that is fine. Just keep going, and before you know it, you will feel super comfortable with showing up on Instagram stories every single week. That is all for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you feel a little bit more confident about showing up on Instagram stories. If you have any more tips for me, or any tips that have really helped you to get comfortable in Instagram stories, drop them in the comments section below. I would love to hear from you. And if you would like to get your hands on any more free resources, I've left a bunch of links to related Instagram marketing videos in the description box. And there is also a link in there to my free 4-day email challenge. This is a great kickstart for you, whether you are new to Instagram or whether you've been using the platform for the last few years and are feeling a little bit stuck with your strategy. This is a great challenge to take to kickstart your strategy. I will see you next Friday for a brand new video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.